Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness down the river of tranquility to fill the lake of life with love.
Good evening. This is Late Night Love. And in this episode of Late Night Love, we dive into the intricacies. Oh, God, it's going to be one of those days. Dive into the intricacies of relationships, parenting, and work. From dealing with a partner's refusal to travel to confronting a chronically late spouse to navigating the challenges of co-parenting and workplace dynamics. We explore real-life dilemmas and offer thoughtful insights. Join us as we tackle these tough questions and more, providing support, guidance for life's most challenging moments, like reading an intro. Those are my life's challenging moments. Good God Almighty, what was that all about? And anyway, you can find us at latenightLove.us, and you can send us your comments, questions, and whatever to love at latenightLove.us. Even though you can't find us on YouTube, well, you can at the moment, but I'm broadcasting it to another channel. So our libertarian friends get to see us tonight instead of, YouTube nuked us because they didn't like my advice to tell parents to take their offspring's interest in defeating parental controls and use it for good. Teach them to use it for good instead of evil now before, apparently. YouTube is stupid. Nobody else cared, but YouTube did. So it is what it is. It's still reading. I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay. I am going to ignore it. But tonight we're going to start with work questions. Uh-oh, I forgot to do that. We're starting with work questions tonight because before we start with work questions, I want to talk about this whole return to the office mandates and whatnot. Because it's one of those things. As someone who used to walk the back in the day when I worked in warehouses, it was copper walkers versus concrete walkers. People who walked on concrete versus people who walked on carpet. The office workers, people who, and it wasn't like they didn't respect the work people did. That wasn't it. It was just you had vastly different work environments, and oftentimes people who walk on carpet didn't respect the work environments that the people they didn't respect the work, and it just is, right? You're just a warehouse worker. Replaceable.
Stop it. So are you.
Yeah, you're no harder to replace than I am, sunshine, right? That's
Exactly.
But the truth is, that kind of exists. And this return to office thing has a similar feel to it.
Okay, what is this return to office?
It's all these people who have been working from home are now being asked to come back and work in the office. And it's causing a bunch of disruptions, both for companies because they weren't properly prepared for their own mandates, and they didn't have the facilities, weren't ready. They didn't prepare the facilities because you've had buildings off for 3 or 4 years essentially, right? But running on minimums. So now you've got to get all the HVACs and stuff turned back on. You got to get the janitors back on a regular schedule. All the stuff that has to get done. New computers have to be bought because those things have been sitting there for 4 years. They're useless. All this various stuff that requires you to get back from the office. Some of the bigger companies weren't properly prepared for it, or their managers weren't properly prepared for it, right? The mandate came from up above. People somewhere below the lower decided, I don't want to do this, so we're just not going to do it. And then all of a sudden everything hit the fan. And then you've got these people who can work from home, who have jobs that can theoretically work from home. And now they're having to re-disrupt their lives, trying to figure out, childcare arrangements and scheduling things that they haven't had to deal with before, which is, the disruption is understandably to be upset.
It is.
I perfectly understand it. But if you're a plumber or a retail worker or a warehouse worker or any of the 77, 80%, whatever it is, of jobs that actually you can't work from home. It's literally not possible. There's no way an electrician can work from home. There's no way a plumber can work from home.
Right.
There's no way a truck driver can work from home. Go down the list. There's no way a retail worker can work from home, right? You go down the list, a nurse can't work from home. You just go down the list. And so you've got these people who theoretically have jobs that they can work from home. And while they individually may feel or be more productive, the teams aren't more productive. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
And this is what these companies are saying. The teams aren't more productive. You as an individual will be more productive, but the overall team isn't. And it's because you need that immediate feedback. And we can't wait till tomorrow to get answers on everything. We need it answered in an hour. We need it answered in 10 minutes. And so these are the conflicts. And the problem these major companies have had is they haven't actually explained it to people that this is the issue. It actually costs. It's cheaper to pay rent on an empty building than it is to have all the lights on, have all the janitors come in. So it's not a money issue. If it was more profitable for them to be at home, they would have you at home. But it's costing them the bottom line because they're not getting jobs done as quickly as they need and as thoroughly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true for those people who are generally more productive at home. I feel for you. I get it, but you're hired to be part of a team. Unless you're a consultant, you're hired to be part of a team.
Changes they are coming.
And I know there's a lot of people who are, well, I'm going to stand on my thing and I'm going to go. There's no job out there for you. A handful of you are good enough to go into the consulting world and make the same kind of money to cover your benefits and all the various things that you have to do by yourself. So be very careful before you make a rash judgment about, well, I'm going to go find another job that I can work from home at. There's not that many, and there's going to be a lot of people who are theoretically making that same choice as you are.
Yeah.
So unless you're an AI developer, I'd be very careful about, making some stand without actually having a backup to already fall back on. It's understandable, but I understand the emotion. You've gotten to work from home. It's a wonderful thing, but yeah, the teams aren't as productive. So regardless of whether you are, the team isn't. You're hard to be part of a team. Okay, so off to more work questions. We actually got questions here.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Copied my male colleague's email style and told I'm being rude. Says she tried to act like one of the guys.
Well, because you changed your style at the heart of you weren't used. If you had slowly changed your style over time, the problem is people know how you write, and so when you change that dramatically, it comes off as shocking. The other guy's always been a jerk, and so they expect it. You set expectations, and when you change expectations rapidly, people notice. That's what they've noticed. Best thing to do with email is write your email, put it into the AI, and have it say revise for email. And if you like the revision, post the revision. If you don't, use your original.
It's that simple?
Yeah. Unless it's a really long, complicated email, but if it's just kind of reply emails and things, it cleans it up. It gives you a very generic email.
Okay.
That way you're not rude.
Right.
Here's the thing. You know that guy who's a jerk and writes like, he doesn't care if they think they're rude. That's the people, the people who are rude, they don't care if you think they're rude. They're just going to get their point across. And your feelings are, hey, this is a job. You're not my wife. That's their feelings on this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so if you're going to do that, if you're going to have that same type of style, you have to have that same type of attitude. You've got to put on that suit of armor, sunshine, and be prepared for people to think you're rude. He doesn't care. So you got the two things. Put your suit of armor on, or in the future, change your style slowly so it's not such a shock if you want to change your style. But I have no problem with the aggressive style of an email, but understand, he's rude, but he's effective because he doesn't care. Okay.
Work wants me to go overseas
Okay.
and live.
Okay, the size of my paycheck is in direct correlation to the amount of BS I'm willing to put up with. What kind of job are we talking about?
Oh, okay.
Mike, if you're going to pay me $750,000 a year to go babysit a factory or something, all right, I'll go do it. Where are we going? All right, there's some places I don't want to go, but for the most part, unless you're sending me to, backwards of China or someplace worse, then yeah, you're sending me to, Japan or Canada or Mexico or, some relatively rational place to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't have a passport, but theoretically, if I was a normal human being, it would be sign me up. Yeah, how's big my paycheck? I'm not a normal human being. And maybe this person isn't a normal human being and doesn't want to work overseas. Or maybe they're not offering enough compensation for you to uproot your life. It's,
Just doesn't want to live in a foreign country, wants to stay in America.
and stay here. Yeah. You just tell them that. And they may have a number high enough for you to say, well, I may not like it.
Maybe for a year.
Maybe I'll go help you guys out for a couple of years. Yeah, maybe they've got a number that big, or maybe not. So that's how these decisions are.
Okay.
But wait, there's no, whatever the decision is, whether to go or stay, it's an individual decision. There is no right or wrong answer for anybody but you. So let's end with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Office work. No heat. 12 degrees Fahrenheit. They're sitting there with their little space heaters,
That better be some dang or important work. I know I've had to work out in not quite 12, but in the 20s in a warehouse with no heat. Of course, you're in a warehouse, you're actually moving around. You're not sitting there at a desk huddling around a space heater. There's some benefit to being, to put some clothes on and just kind of move around and keep yourself warm rather than sitting in an ice box just being blah, 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 blah. That's miserable, right? That's just is. So if the heat's on the process of getting fixed, sometimes you just have to kind of plow through some things. Even though I think at 12 degrees, you would tell people not to come into the office unless it's some mission critical thing that can't be done off site because it's banking or some high security thing. Okay, what's next?
Can an employer refuse to allow employees to use their earned paid time off on days that the store was closed due to weather?
There might be legal reasons why they can't do that, but why would they care when you use your paid time off?
Yeah.
Yeah. My guess is there's legal reasons. They have to pay you or something, and so you can't use your paid time off. That doesn't make sense because why would... Yeah, go ahead. Use your paid time off on a day where we were closed anyway. So
I know.
Yeah, there's something strange about that. My guess is no, you don't need to was the answer, and they misunderstood. I don't know. Okay, what's next?
Is it unethical of me to quit after a few months if the people are actually nice?
It's ethical of you to quit if you want to quit. There's not an ethics. It's nothing to do with that decision. Them being nice or not might make your decision more difficult because, you don't want to leave nice people in a lurch. But if the job isn't for you, the job isn't for you. There's no use wasting yours or their time. So, you move on as professionally as possible. That's the most ethical thing to do in that situation for both you and them.
Yes, it's to leave nicely. Yeah.
So you guys are great. I love the environment. Everybody's pleasant, but the job just isn't for me. And they're gonna go, oh great, we realize that, but you're so nice. We liked working with you, except the job really isn't for you. And you guys will part ways. Everybody's happy. That's what will happen. So the high road is a wonderful place. You can see everything from up there. So you're actually being ethical by leaving a job you're not suited for, so they can find someone who is. Okay.
How do you manage stress after work?
Well, everybody manages stress differently. Some people work out. Some people go home and watch movies. Some people manage their stress by cooking. You know, the act of coming home and prepping dinner is actually a de-stressing event. Some people will watch movies. Some people play video games. Some people go bowling. So it's not that the thing that you do to relieve stress from work or stress in general isn't so much as important is that you do something to relieve your stress in general. Don't worry about the what so much as worry about the do. Just find something that works for you. Meditation, any of the things it doesn't really matter as long as it's effective.
Something. Anything.
And if the first thing you try doesn't work, doesn't mean something doesn't work. It just means that didn't work. So try something else. You know, and if you want to do what's best for you, try with stuff that's healthy. Those things never personally worked for me, but I would actually strongly suggest to people to do as I say, not as I do in this particular case, and start with stuff that's healthy. Start with cooking dinner for yourself, making an effort to take the time and plan and you know, start with that. A lot of people like food. I don't, so it's not a thing that benefits me. But a lot of people like food. So if you like food, start there. Start with just spending a little more time and care with your food preparation as an act of relaxation thing. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to chop vegetables because mindlessly chopping vegetables gets me not thinking about work. That's the goal of chopping vegetables. Trust me, I've chopped lots of vegetables. You can't think of anything else than chop vegetables because you chop your fingers off. Literally. Chop this one. Anyway, just the tip. I caught just the tip. Literally one of the times where the time with just the tip was actually just the tip. Okay. All right, so what's next?
Should I warn my boss I want to look for a new job?
Well, it depends on the relationship you have with your boss or whatnot. But I wouldn't warn your boss until you're along the process and think you've already got one. There's no reason to tell your boss you're looking for a new job. It's personal. Not part of frankly, it's none of his business until it's his business. You may take a year to find it. So why would you tell him now? Again, you go back. You take the most ethical road for both of you. There's no point in telling him now if...
No, there's nothing to tell.
At the moment, there's nothing to tell other than you're going to dust up your resume and start sending it around the place. Talk to a headhunter or whatever.
They don't need to know that.
It's like, do they need to know what you scored on your golf game last Sunday? No, it's none of their business. You know, if you're friendly with them, you know, they'll talk about it. But my guess is they probably know you're kind of topped out in the company. And if you're going to have a career advancement, you have to go somewhere else. People know these things. They're not stupid. Mm-hmm. So do the best you can to make sure that the person who's going to have to follow you is going to have the easiest transition you can during this process, which, again, is operating the most ethically possible. And when it comes time, when you've got decision made and there's some concrete plans, you know, then you can have the discussion. There's no reason to tell them now.
Absolutely.
Unless you live in a real small town and word's going to get around anyway. So then you may
that's like the one caveat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're going in real small circles and it's going to get back. And, you know, he probably knows that you kind of topped out. Again, but other than that, if you're in a big city, no, you don't tell him. Get out of here. All right. We're on to some parenting questions.
Yes. When do you divorce and how do you co-parent? Well, these are two very big separate topics.
My question is, when do you decide to divorce? Right? When your relationship, that's actually when your relationship has reached the point where neither one of you think it's fixable or one of you is simply refusing to try. Over time, mm-hmm. Right? You put out things like depression, and you push those out as far as possible. But again, if someone isn't working on their depression for long enough, are you really expecting yourself to be put through that? And again, you go past, other reasons for the obvious reasons. We're going to go past the obvious reasons. We're assuming there's no obvious reasons. Okay? We're going to assume like the top 3 or 4 of the obvious reasons. Financial fraud, infidelity, abuse, those kind of things are off the table at the moment. It's it's just not, what time do you say? There's no major problem other than we can no longer stand each other. That's kind of when it becomes a point, and when one or both of you no longer want to try. Because there's too much water under the bridge. Even if you still care about each other, there can reach a point where there's too much water under the bridge, and you've just made too many mistakes as a couple, and you just decide that, you know what, it's just not possible anymore. Mm-hmm. We can't repair that. There's no way of repairing that mess of entanglement. And then it becomes, okay, so how do we deal with those, the children? Mm-hmm. And how do you deal with the children is by focusing on what's best for the children. You set yourselves aside. Okay, theoretically, how would we handle this if our own emotions and feelings were out the side? What would be the best for the children? And then you get as close to that as you two can manage. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be wiggles on that line, but because some people can take less and more. But that's what you start with. In the ideal world, how would you deal with this? And then you work from there. Ideally.
It's a long road.
Yeah. And understand that no one's going to be happy for a while.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Should I drop her nap at 2 years old?
No, but she'll tell you when she needs her nap at 2 years old. Girls are generally speaking better at taking naps than boys are. Now, boys will crash. Don't get me wrong. And just 1 minute they'll be laying anywhere. It's like hanging over the batch of a couch asleep. What the heck happened? How did you get sleeping there? Are you okay? No, they're just sleeping. Did you hit his head or something? That's there. No, he was tired there and he went to sleep. That's where girls, generally speaking, are much better about actually going to take a nap. Sit them down, you read them with a book about their nap time and kind of just take their nap. Generally speaking. It doesn't work for mine, but I've seen it happen with a lot of young girls. So, but no, she needs her nap. You need her nap as much as she needs her nap.
Yes.
So you just may need to adjust when that happens.
And you may just need to put her in it's called a book time or quiet time, and put her in her bed with just, a slew of books and say, okay, now you stay in here. And you said you can get a timer for her, 20 minutes, whatever long you want to make it. And then, and that can be, you go and lay down too, for 20 minutes.
Well, at about 2, that's when we switch from 2 naps to 1, somewhere between 2 and 3, generally speaking. They have a morning nap and afternoon nap when they're babies. Somewhere, 1.5, between 1.5 and 3, 2 and 3, they go from 2 to 1. So, but their naps are shorter now. And so there's the other problem.
Yes.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Get her some exercise before nap time. Have playtime, serious, aggressive playtime right before nap time. Get her to go off some aggressive playtime. You give her a little snack, and you send her off to nap time or to quiet time, and it'll be nap time real quick. Give her a little cheese and crackers, no sugar, cheese and crackers. Yeah. Hey, man. I did that a lot. I raised lots of kids. I know how to do that kind of thing. So, okay, what's next?
Dagler's struggling to cope. Wait, husband is not the dad I thought he'd be. He's not as involved.
How old is the child? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
If it's an infant, it's because he doesn't know what to do, and because he doesn't know what to do. Men don't have those 6 months, 9 month maternal instincts that women do. It's all foreign to us. It's, I need an instruction manual, and there's no instruction manuals for babies. There's just not. And so we need practice. And oftentimes you just don't get the practice. A lot of times because they're afraid. Babies are this fragile, well, they seem like these really intense, fragile things. And we break things. We've got a long history of breaking things. You got to understand this. We know we're kind of clumsy and we're kind of brutish. And so we've gotten this little 7-pound thing that feels really fragile because it kind of is, but kind of isn't. And we don't know how it works, except we kind of do, but it makes no sense to us. And so unless we get some practice time on our own, we're very uncomfortable. We don't like being judged. We don't like, we know the first 10, 12 diapers we put on are going to be terrible. But so are yours. You just had more practice at putting diapers on than we do. That's all of it is. Once we get through all the diaper trauma, we're just as good at changing diapers as women are.
Yeah. New moms, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Do not judge his diaper skills ever. Let him ease into it, because who do you think you want to get up at 2:00 in the morning and go get the baby, change the diaper, and bring to me, and I'll nurse her? Him. You have to accept the job that he does. He's doing it with love.
You don't have to praise. This is the thing a lot of women get wrong. You don't have to praise them. You just have to not judge them.
Yes.
You don't have to praise them for doing the routine things. You do not. You just have to not judge them. Let them do it their way. Will they mess it up? Of course they will. So did you. That's what you forget. You've done it 10 times. He's doing it once. So how was your first diaper you've ever changed? I don't know anybody who's gotten the first one right except out of pure beginner's luck. And if they got the first one right, it means they messed up the second or third one, right? There's no way you get that right the first time except by beginner's luck. So let them help. And again, if they're older, that's a different question. If the children are older, once you get to the point where a dad can roughhouse and start actually being a dad, then there's no excuse for them to not be engaged. There's not, because part of that would be actually, if the wife is a barrier of that, she doesn't like them playing that way, he has to actually figure out a way to tell his wife that, no, this is good for them. You have to let me parent this way. That's part of parenting, is making those arrangements together as a couple, figuring out where those lines are that you can and cannot cross. Women hate seeing their kids getting tossed around like rag dolls in the air. Kids are laughing like crazy. Women come and go, ah! Right? The smart women turn around and walk out and let it happen.
Just let it go, let it go, let it go.
Because that's actually needed. That's how men bond.
It actually is, yes.
It's how children become not afraid of things. It's how they learn how their body works. It's all kinds of various things that roughhousing, it learns that they're kind of tough. They don't learn not to be afraid of falling. That even if they do get hurt, it only hurts for a few minutes. We'll be all right. We get back up and you move on. That's where they learn that kind of thing. So, and anything else, then you worry about things like depression and family history. That's how he's taught. And that's can only be changed with maybe some deep conversations, maybe some therapy, if it's something deeper. But there's no excuse, because part of being a good parent is working past those things. As someone who failed, often. I didn't become a good parent until my youngest was 7 or 8. So what it is. Not that I didn't try.
It takes a while.
Not that I didn't try. I was just didn't succeed. Okay.
Do kids not go to other kids' homes? And wait a minute, I'm missing. I keep skipping tonight. Daughter struggling to cope with move. Any advice? She's 8.
All 8-year-olds will struggle to cope with the move.
Yes.
Unless you're one of those things who have moved often. This is the life that was. It's nice and solid. She knows everything. Everything's similar. Everything's familiar. Now she's going to a whole new life where everything is different. Her whole world is different now. The ground that she's familiar with is now different ground. It's whole different.
Literally.
Quite literally. And so yeah, she's going to struggle to cope with that because she's 8 and she hadn't had to experience this before. She has no coping skills. So this is where you start teaching them coping skills. You help her recognize what the feeling she's having. You help explain to her the feeling she's having. Okay, why are you having this? Well, here's why you're having these feelings. And you explain just what we went through. You know, explain it for an 8-year-old, which you could actually work. You know, the ground you're walking on is going to be different now. You used to live on this ground, and now you're going to live on a different ground, and that's unsettling. And so that's why you're afraid. Because you're afraid, you have this, fear comes with a lot of emotion. Bring out the Yoda thing, right? So help her identify her emotions. And then once you identify emotions, they're far easier. They're far easier to deal with because you can kind of see it's kind of silly. You're still with mom and dad, just in a different house. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Other than it's new. And it's okay to be afraid of it's new. But, we still have to go to what's new. We're here with you. And you hold her by the hand and you walk through the door. Help her she's going to go through the journey. So you might as well be there holding her hand and helping her understand what's happening. And then next time she goes through some big major change, that's her baseline. You're creating her baseline for major change. So be very deliberate and careful, but firm. Don't set any unreasonable expectations. Don't start, oh, well, if you deal with this better, we'll give you a pony or something. Don't do none of that kind of stuff. Okay.
Do kids not go to other kids' homes anymore to play?
Well, I don't know. I haven't had young kids in forever. I suppose it does happen. I suppose these days they're probably more organized than organic, like we did in our day, where you just go over and knock on somebody's door and say, "Hey, can Johnny come out to play?" And literally, that's what we did. You go and knock, "Hey, can Joe come out to play? Can Jeff come out to play?" You just go knocking on people's doors. "Hey, can they come out to play?" No, someone can come out to play. That's how you went and found someone to play with. So do you do that anymore? I don't know. Well, play is different now. So, of course, how they play is going to be different. Mm-hmm. It's not the same things. They have vastly different types of toys and entertainment. For good or bad, it's just play is different. Have they lost something? Maybe. Have they gained something? Maybe. So, what you can do is if you want them to have that experience, you can facilitate that experience. Find the neighbors in the house, in the neighborhood you trust, and just set up, I hate to say it, set up play dates. Try and make them as organic as possible. Make them feel as organic as possible. Right? Yeah. Make back-end arrangements with the parents down the street to have a pizza party last minute next Tuesday. That kind of thing. Make it seem organic to the kids. Mm-hmm. But, so they have that experience. Simulate it as best you can, I suppose.
Why is that important?
I don't know if it is. I don't know it's not. There's many ways to raise a successful family. So if you feel it's important, that's one way you can integrate that into your life. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Now, is networking important and teaching your children how to network is important? Yes. Should you do that in that circumstance? Oh, God, I don't know. I hate to bring education into freaking everything.
That's a tough one.
Everything is education, right? Life experience is the best education. And so teaching them how to organically network, kind of, is that valuable? Yeah. Teaching them how to get along with other people, teach them how to be polite, teaching them, how to interact in social situations. Sure, that's all important. How important and what steps you go through to teach that, that's an individual family thing. So, okay.
My 6-week-old fell off my bed. Okay, this was one of the longest postings I've seen.
Yeah?
She went into minute details. She was racked with guilt.
Yeah, welcome to every parent on the planet.
Yeah.
There is no child in existence that hasn't fallen off of something between the first 3 months of existence. It just happens. I'll guarantee it. And this is one of those things where, that things babies bounce? They kind of do. As long as it's not too high, they kind of do.
Yeah.
And so, no, is that a big warning sign for you to be more careful? Yeah. Yes, it is. Maybe you were too tired, and so maybe you change your regular routine.
Well, the baby, she put it on the bed. She thought she gave enough distance away from the edge.
Yeah.
But she left. She was gone longer than she expected.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, she heard this cry, and baby was on the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because at some point, they start to move by themselves. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's what you put them in a box on the floor for.
There you go.
Yeah. Get a big Amazon box, you put a blanket in there, and you stick them on the box on the floor. It'll be fine. You don't need much.
Or you can get a playpen.
Well, you can, but what if you don't have one? What if that's all you've got handy? It's perfectly fine.
And a 6-week-old, you don't really need a playpen yet.
You usually have a bassinet or something you can throw them in, but what if you don't?
Yeah.
If all you've got is an empty Amazon box, you throw a blanket in there, you stick them in the Amazon box in the room with you. It's not gonna traumatize them. They're not gonna have any idea. I'm just saying.
Traumatized.
well, I think people are gonna go. You can't put them in. You're not shipping them anywhere. You're just making it so they can't hurt themselves.
While your back is turned.
Yeah, that's all you're doing.
That's it. You're containing them for 10 minutes. That's it.
I mean, there was a time where if you didn't have the space or the money for a dedicated bassinet, you literally emptied a drawer and had your baby sleeping in your dresser drawers.
Yeah, in your infant.
Because that was the safest place for them. So it's not like he closed the drawer. He had him sleeping in the dresser drawer.
Yeah.
So, because it was about the right size, you could make it nice and soft. And, yeah, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. There's nothing. We all think we need these dedicated things. All a bassinet is a box. That's pretty. That's it. That's all it is. Okay. So what's next?
Anyone have any luck teaching their very young child piano or different instrument? This child is 2.
Only if they're a prodigy. It happens. It happens just enough where people think it can happen to them.
Apparently there was an episode with a drum that just jaw-dropping.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So if they're a prodigy, then it's possible. But it's not likely. And there's always the danger of over pushing and then pushing them away. So be very careful. And let them be the one to be the motivator on those.
Yeah.
Okay, on to relationship questions.
Okay. Now, this one. My husband told me he'll never get on a plane despite knowing and accepting that I have always wanted to live in Japan. How do I move on from this? Now, this was not just a desire.
Uh-huh.
She's visited Japan
Okay,
many times. She has spent years, plural, learning the language.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, he knew this. The whole sequence of events, things happening. She's always said it.
Yeah. Okay, that was...
And he's completely played along. Everything was fine. But he didn't say anything, apparently.
Now, is it a plane or is it... Because you can take a boat to Japan.
Ugh.
So maybe he just doesn't want to fly. Maybe he's afraid of flying, which is a 2, you can take a boat, or 3, you can conquer the fear of flying. Or is it he didn't really believe that she was going to actually go through with moving to Japan? So, yeah, sure, whatever. And got himself in quite of a pickle because, now he's having to say, I don't want to get on a plane rather than I really don't want to move to Japan. So there's 2 things. Is it the fear of moving to Japan or is it the fear of flying?
Flying.
If it's a fear of flying, there's 2 ways around it. You can conquer the fear of flying or you can just get on a boat. Boats go to Japan all the time. It's not a big thing. Take a cruise. Take a cruise ship to Japan. It's no big deal. That's a solvable problem right there. Maybe a little more expensive, take more time, but if it's a lifetime commitment move, what do you care if it takes a week instead of a couple hours, right? Instead of a day. Doesn't matter. I suspect it's more than wanting to fly.
I suspect he doesn't want to move to a foreign country.
But that may be fear too.
Yes.
And that may be conquered as well. He may be stunned because maybe she is one of those people who talks a lot and never does things, and all of a sudden she's actually doing something, and now oh man, and now he's up short. But these are the things. If you really want to go, you're in your mid-20s, so they're in their mid-20s. So
Yeah, they are.
It's better to find out now.
Yeah.
In that kind of sense.
And go off on your adventure. Don't let anything stop you.
Yeah, if that's what you really wanted to do and everything was clear,
really,
then you move on.
Yeah.
If it's just some kind of fear that can be conquered, fear of travel, fear of different, fear of leaving home, there's all kinds of ways. Those can be dealt with. Those can be conquered. Those are
best they can.
Those are psychological issues.
There's something's going on here, I think.
But it could be like the other guy we talked about, not wanting to go to another country for work. He just didn't want to go. Now, of course, in that stage, you should have, that relationship should have not become cemented. Shouldn't be husband and wife.
Yeah.
Because it was always going to end. So that's the problem. Okay, what's next?
I found out that the guy I'm seeing was married and left him peacefully. Now my family and friends are telling me I should tell his wife.
Why would she want the drama?
Is that her job? I mean, really?
No. It's
And
not.
who would that make feel better? Her.
It wouldn't even make her feel better. If it would have made her feel better, she would have.
That's true.
Yeah, if it would have made her feel
She
better,
would
she'd have
already
done it better.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not going to make it. This is what made her. Oh, I'd done the wrong thing. She accepted her responsibility for it. She's not going to go. She's not going to be responsible for blowing up a family or whatever. So she bowed out of the. She did the. As from her perspective, she's done everything right.
Yeah. As
And-
soon as she found out, she is.
I'm out of here.
I'm done.
But I'm not going to be part of creating drama, and I have no problem with it. I would also have no problem if she was one of those who felt the need to say something. My question is, whenever you're going to do that, is ask why. Are you just satisfying your own personal moral, indignation? You're going to satisfy that, or are you actually doing it for a real purpose? Just if it's just to satisfy your own moral sense of moral righteousness, then you probably should rethink it. Now, if you know the lady or you're someone, you kind of run in social circles, maybe you can make an argument for it. But in this circumstance where, no, she's right. Her family's wrong. Don't create the drama in your life. It's not your problem. Don't make somebody else's problem yours. It's a pretty good Benjamin Franklin type piece of advice there. It's none of your business. She got out of it, and stay the heck out of it. That's that's our suggestion. We're both agreeing with that one.
You're being wise. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in agreement there.
Yeah.
Okay.
My boyfriend of 2 years thinks all men have explicit pictures of Instagram. Do you agree?
What, when you like saved it, or hey, you have these fake bot accounts send you pictures of explicit pictures? Because you got these bot accounts send men explicit pictures all the freaking time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, friend requests and things. Yeah, they're just bots. They're just trying to get you to, get you interactive enough so they can send you a link that you click on and get your accounts. They're just scams, right? Most of us know they're scams, but you get the 1 or 2% that they're, drunk or something and go, oh, hey, yeah. It happens. And they've even gotten smart. They don't use the drop dead gorgeous models anymore. They use mildly attractive people now. So.
Oh, really?
Yes. These people they're not 10s anymore. They're just sending out 6s and 7s. So they seem more real. And man, those things are dangerous. Now, is he saving them, going through Instagram and saving pictures of them? No, unless you have in the business of doing that, there are people who, are promoting things. I have producers who he helps promote these young models, right? These young groups of models. And so, yeah, he's going to have these type of things favorited. But if you're just a random dude who works at the warehouse or down at McDonald's or answering customer service phone calls, and you've got a bunch of random ladies' Instagram pictures saved up, I'm not going to say it's a red flag, but discretion is a better part of valor, young men. There's nothing wrong. You're not going to bring any of these women home. It's not a problem, right? That's kind of the theory. It's mild entertainment.
But some women have a problem with, why are you saving
Yeah,
the picture then? But
because
okay, what I don't understand is how would they feel about a magazine, a girly magazine? Would they be just as upset? Because I remember being 21 and I discovered his girly magazine. I was married. Oh my, the marriage was over, and I'm not enough.
Yeah, we have no chance of getting any of those women home, but somehow you all are afraid of them. That's the funniest thing. But that's when discretion is a better part of valor.
No, your desire is not completely for us.
Well, I'm sorry, we were not designed that way. So the best we can do is keep our focus on you. We cannot play, but we can't not look. We can teach ourselves to not play. Okay, stop asking for more than that. And most women understand that when they get their mid-20s and 30s, when their eyes start looking at all those fancy young hunks that they can no longer have.
When you start going through your sexual peak and you're like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah. So, those tables do turn, ladies. They do turn.
Nature is so cruel, I'll tell you.
So it does kind of, and they are boyfriend, not wife, but it does kind of depend on the nature of the pictures and blah, blah, blah. If he's just a pic collector, then he's just a pic collector. He likes seeing pictures of girls. At 27, my guess is he should be growing out of that thing by now, but I don't know. It would be more of a sign of immaturity than I would be of a sign of anything else. From my perspective, it would be more of a sign of immaturity, the fact that he can't be discreet about it. He can't put it in its proper place at this stage of his life. That kind of thing, that kind of adult entertainment that has a time and place, right? There's a time and place for that type of thing. And, on your phone, on Instagram is probably not it. So, okay. What's next?
My mother is highly disrespectful to me. But whenever I confront her about it, she demands that I focus in on details so specific that the forest is missed for the trees. How do I get her to understand?
You don't.
My darling, she understands perfectly. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What you do is you limit your communication to the necessary ones. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say cut your mother off. She's 66. You don't do that. But you can limit it to the necessary interaction. That's just what you do.
Yeah.
You're on minimal communication until you can behave better, and she's 66. She's not going to behave better, but you don't have to be treated like that.
Just in treating his wife terribly, and he's not taking his mother's side, but he's like, Mom, you're hurting my feelings when you talk to someone I love like that, and was it my tone? Do I need to change my tone? And I'm like, ooh, lady, please, you are just too much. I just had to go, stop it.
You can say, no, Mother, you're just going to have to change everything because you're only getting minimal contact from now on because you can't behave like a civilized person. You can't behave civilly. That's all we ask. We only ask civil. We're not going to reach for the stars here and ask you to act lovingly, but we are going to ask you to act civil. And if you can't do that, then you're on minimal communication. We'll check in on you, make sure everything's fine. We'll make sure you've got your food in your house. We're not going to cast you out into the breeze, but you don't get to have casual conversations anymore. It's just how it goes. So, okay, what's next?
My husband is chronically late and is putting a tremendous strain on our marriage. How can I move past this? I can tell you from a reformed, chronically late person early on in this relationship, he knows there's a strain being put on everybody. He knows. And now the thing is to talk to him about it and try to get him to, see if he wants to change it. Does it bother him? Does he want to do something about it? Because it really bothered me. And I finally had to do, okay, how am I going to do this? I need to start earlier. How much ahead of time, how long it actually took me to get ready instead of how much I thought in my head how long it actually took to get ready. It was vastly different, by the way.
Yeah, well, and look, you're going to have to figure out what the cause is. At 35, what's the cause? Is he dealing with an anxiety disorder? This is something I can relate to. And so he's delaying everything, not out of any sense of things, but until there's enough external force to push him out of his anxiety loop, he can't force himself out the door. And so until it's literally the last minute or past it, there's not enough motivation. So there may be some mental health issues that he's going to have to deal with. So that might be part of the issue. You know, is he one of those people who are ADHD and whatever and completely lose track of time? Or like you, just doesn't realize how long things, I'll just go out and mow the lawn. It's only going to take 10 minutes, and it really takes a half an hour. You know, doesn't think that, oh, now I'm going to have to go shower. And, well, shower only takes 10 minutes. No, it takes 20. And, you know, and all these things add up. And next thing you know, you're an hour late. And one of the things you can do is you can help by, you can plan some of that padding into your own time clock. Okay, I know he's going to be an hour late. So I'm going to plan for us to leave at 5. If he happens to be, and so that means we're usually going to leave by 5:45, 6 o'clock. So we're all planning to leave at 5. That's the plan now. Plan it out to leave at 5. So when we actually leave at 5:30, it's a victory because I was only expecting to leave at 5:45. So you can change that. You give him different deadlines than you give yourself. The deadline for you is 5 o'clock. The deadline for me in my head is 6. Not telling anybody else the deadline's really 6. But I'm the only one that knows the deadline's 6. Everybody else, the kids and everything, kids will pick up on it real quick. They'll know that, yeah, we're going, Dad's ready, but Mom's going to have everybody else ready at 5, and we're going to sit around and play video games or whatever until Dad's ready at somewhere between 5:30 and 5:45. You know, that's just, if there's a routine to it, work with the routine. Just, instead of getting all exasperated, you work with the routine. And then, as they see that you're trying to work with them, they work with you.
I felt I had to do something.
Because, this person, they're giving me so much grace. They're no longer complaining. They're just.
I know.
And now because they love you, you're going, oh, now I have no choice. I've got to be better. And at some point you're going, okay, now when can I change this dynamic? When can we actually start changing the real time to the real time? That becomes the next problem when you both have moved. Okay, now what's the real time? Because now they're on time more often or within a margin of error that's acceptable. Now, so can I tell them the real time now? Or are we just going to be an hour early all the time? So, you know, that is a problem. This is a long-term relationship, right? The long-term consequences is always change. You solve one problem, now you've created another one that you're going to have to solve. It's a better problem to have, don't get me wrong. I'd rather have a problem where, now we're either an hour early or we're within a margin of error of being late. What do? You say, thank God we're not where we used to be. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You thank God that we have this choice and you can pick them up.
So it's going to be a journey.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
change how you view it start with changing how you view it. You know, work with it instead of against it and see where it goes. Okay.
I want to break up with my girlfriend, but she thinks we're getting married. How do I approach this?
Oh, you break up with this as soon as possible before she gets that thing any bigger in her head than it already is.
Post haste.
Yeah, there's no delay. That's the ethical thing to do at this stage.
Yeah.
Is because any delay is at this stage kind of leading her on, and not intentionally, but it is functionally leading her on.
It is.
And so you're gonna have to just call it a relationship and move on. And sadly, her emotions on the break aren't your responsibility. As long as you do it ethically, you're not, everybody's going to be sad. And the fact that she had built this future in her head that wasn't real is not your responsibility.
I'm sorry. No, it's not, hon.
No. Now, doesn't mean you don't be gentle and kind, but remember, ending this clearly is the most gentle and kind thing you can do. Mm-hmm. Okay.
My boyfriend is addicted to posting his junk,
his
stuff,
gentleman sausage.
his stuff on Reddit, and I don't know what to do.
What, is he like getting a lot of positive feedback or something? Apparently.
Apparently.
Okay. I don't know. Is there anything to do? I suppose.
I mean, if
it bothers, they're 24. Let's be clear. So they're both 24. So they're young enough where this is just a relationship that you can still toss away, right? It's not a long term.
Apparently,
it's not a long term relationship.
No, boyfriend.
So they're boyfriends and they're on Reddit. So if it's something, so
he's still on Reddit. I mean, how committed is he?
Hey, we get our things from Reddit, but you don't know what the.
But I'm not posting pictures of my yes, ma'am.
Well, but this is Reddit. You have no. It could just be rate my member, and they're just doing it for lulz. It's Reddit. They do that kind of thing just for lulz.
What?
Yeah. Seriously.
Okay.
You don't go deep enough into Reddit, clearly.
No, I don't. I only go to four things.
Yeah. So, A, is he really addicted, or are you just imposing that he's addicted because you don't like him doing it? So now the fact that he still does it calls you addicted. This really feels more like he's an internet troll more than he is anything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of and at 24,
shouldn't you be past this?
You're on the edge. You've got a couple more years where you should be past the gentleman sausage picks, I would think, and onto something more mature. But none of these. There's not a linear timeline on how these things work.
Apparently not.
But you don't know what to do. You either ignore it and just don't do anything because there's nothing to do. He's just being an internet troll, and that's not part of, it's part of him, but not a part of your life together, and you just kind of ignore it. Or it's a sign that he's far more immature than you want right now, and you move on and you find a relationship that works for you. There's kind of only two answers on this one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's either he's immature because it's goofy and immature, and it's goofy and immature. And yeah, that's kind of what it is. All right. What's next?
Okay, we have intimacy.
Okay.
My girlfriend is insecure about her body. How can I help?
Oh, if we had the answer to this question, we could make a bazillion dollars.
We really could.
Yeah, we'd be the richest people on the planet. If I had a good answer to this one. There's nothing you can do except let her know that you love her because of who she is. That's it. There's literally nothing you can do but love her. And she will always be insecure about her body. And at some point, she will accept that you don't care.
It takes time. It takes sometimes a very long time.
And sometimes it takes...
But I'll tell you what really did it for me was when I had lost weight and you were like, hey, things are not where they were. And I'm like, darling, you didn't notice I had gained like 100 pounds? And he's like, well, not really, Okay. Me being insecure is foolish. From here forward.
What do you want from me? But there's really nothing. All you can do is love her for who she is, and she will eventually accept that.
Exactly.
And the insecurity, her body insecurity towards you will go away. She'll still have it. It's not going to go away completely. It's just you will get the benefits of her not being insecure around you. That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Because asking a woman to not be insecure about her body, because even the supermodels are insecure about their body. It's just
they really are.
You're just there's no into it. So you just love her for who she is, and then she will eventually accept that, and then it's not part of your life. It's still part of hers. It's just not part of yours.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Boyfriend won't do doggy,
And
but he wants her to do cowgirl.
okay.
Well, this is just not equal time here.
Well,
In her, aren't we going to take turns, doing what I want sometimes, kind of thing.
okay. Now, oddly enough, the reverse cowgirl thing is I know why women don't like that when they're looking at your feet. Who wants to look at your feet? It's just not for a woman's perspective. It's just not a very attractive position.
We get a little bit disconnected.
Yeah, and it's theoretically the same thing with the doggy style, but apparently she likes the sensation over the.
Right, she does.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to work. Physically, it's easier. You can just kind of experience. You have to kind of concentrate.
Yes, you do.
Well,
you do. You got to make sure you're in position right, because if you go out in position wrong and it hits you a certain way, it's going to end the night on a bad note. You have to be careful.
okay. So I guess the question would be why. Is maybe I would say
She never. I think she never really asked him.
that's an interesting question to ask why.
I would ask him why.
Because does he like? I'm assuming that the whole good old fashioned missionary or whatnot, and those
Oh yeah,
are fine. So
Yeah.
it's not an effort issue. Because frankly, doggy's easier than those. If you're talking about
in the effort.
in the effort,
Yeah, okay.
it's easier. Well, long term effort is easier.
Maybe he just doesn't like the view or something.
But if he likes it if he likes the view in reverse cowgirl, it's essentially the same view.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd ask.
Okay. I'd ask him.
Yeah, this was just
Definitely.
Yeah, this is just ask. It's like, okay, I've got a question. It's perfectly fine for you to have your limits, but why this one doesn't make sense? And go from there. That's an ask question. Okay.
Okay. My mom found my vibrator. She's 19.
Was your mom sneaking in a room, or did she just kind of accidentally stumble across
She
it?
just stumbled across it. She found it in her drawer. She left it
Okay, so how did mom?
and putting away her laundry, and she lives at home
Okay.
still. And her mother is conservative, and her mother has said nothing, but she's absolutely mortified.
But if her mother has said nothing, then there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. Mom has already made the decision. There's nothing to do, so there's nothing to do, except put it in a better spot. So under your mattresses are for and things like that. Don't put it in the drawer that your mother's gonna put laundry away in, or you put it in a nice case so it looks like it's something else.
Or maybe you could crochet a little cover and put it on your nightstand.
Oh yeah, that's gonna make her not feel mortified. So there's nothing to do. If there was anything to do, your mother would have said something. There's nothing to do. I know you're mortified, and I get it because you didn't want your mother to see it. But you know what? You'll still use it.
It
tonight.
happens.
You'll
Sorry.
still use it tonight, so it's all
Sorry.
good.
You're right.
Yeah. There's nothing to do. So it just I can't do a Ruth Westheimer. So okay, what's next?
Men that are silent during sex. I know. It's mystifying. You're like, what are you thinking? Because with most guys, you get some noises so you know you're on the right track.
Okay, you know what you're
so
thinking?
we're going to do more of this.
When men are actually, so you know what they're thinking? They're thinking of baseball. They're thinking of track and field. They're thinking of anything to do to make this last longer.
but you're feeling at the same time.
Well, yes, if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't need to be thinking of baseball and track and field and what was happening at work today. Yeah.
So we're playing a little head game, is what we're doing.
Well, yes, we're trying to distract ourselves so we can not embarrass ourselves.
Oh, you think you're going to embarrass yourself?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
No one likes to go do a one-shot pony there.
okay. Oh, I'm getting it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I never.
Someone was slow over here.
I did not understand this whole process had such an important mission.
It's more important
accomplished to it.
It's more important for you than it is for us.
Yeah, I know. I mean, y'all are actually really putting an effort into this.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we try. We don't always succeed, but we try. So, and not everybody has the same level of shall we say enthusiasm factor, right?
Yeah.
There's a trait enthusiasm, and so it's the rah-rah gene. It's literally literally is a rah-rah gene. There literally is.
But you're right.
Yeah.
There's some real cheerleaders out there, guys, and they're few and far between. But I mean, you get a blow by blow, you're gonna get a comment.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
And then, but for every one of those,
Very verbal, but for everyone, there's a guy who's you're like, are you there yet? Are you close even? I had no idea.
and it's not like he's not having a good time. He's just not expressive. Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is.
Can you crack a smile? Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, sometimes you can't always control your expressions. I'm just saying.
And you get a little.
You guys don't understand. We can't control our expressions. That's why you get that stumped, stupid look faces.
The thing that I find,
Uh-huh.
the redeeming quality in those guys, they're good kissers. Nature balances things out.
It tries to. Yeah. Okay. What do we've got next?
How should I initiate wearing lingerie? Female. It's her first relationship. And she waited a while. She's 21. She's a little older. Okay, she's not 18. But she doesn't know. She bought some lingerie.
Okay.
She's got a boyfriend.
Okay.
They've been together for a while.
Okay.
Okay, a little while. Now she wants to. How should she go about it? Should she discuss this? Should she show him first and then put it on? Should she do like a show, or should she eke it out? I mean, she's putting a lot of mental work into this.
Okay, if you want to have the most kind of fun type rewarding experiences, you have a discussion about what you would like your first time to kind of be. You have that discussion, but not on the day you're going to have it. Then you put your nice little lingerie on the day when you are ready. Because you're not going to have to. His readiness will happen, unless there's a traumatic event that day. His readiness will be fine, so you don't have to worry about him. Just saying, they're 20. Yeah, you're not going to have to worry about him. So, right, you put your nice little lingerie on. You do all the things to make you ready. Because remember, lingerie isn't for the man. We want to get you out of it. All lingerie is for us is a big signal that you guys are open to the possibility. That's what lingerie is for us. That's it.
That's all it means?
That's all it means. It means you guys are feeling amorous. That's a big sign. It's like a big flashing neon sign that we need.
That's what you need.
That's what we need.
Yay!
Yay! How do I get her out of that?
Because she obviously likes it.
Yeah. So the lingerie is for you. So I understand that. For us, it's just a sign that you're feeling amorous that night. So So the lingerie is for you, so you feel comfortable and prepared and ready for that night. And so that's how you do it.
It's a tool. It's a tool that I have used when I have felt at my most physically unattractive. Candlelight and lingerie. Perfect. Everybody looks good, Candlelight lingerie. Gotta make the jump, lady. Make this happen for you, kid. It's really gonna pay off for you.
Yeah.
You're gonna enjoy it.
So it's fine to have it planned out, but not the actual night planned out.
No, just the actual night. Just see what's at. Just let her rip.
Let her go. So you plan, you tell them, all right, one of these days, I don't exactly know when, I'm going to show up in lingerie, and it's going to be okay for us to engage. So you kind of let her know that you don't have to go through that awkward thing of, is it okay that I touch you here? No, so you've cleared that out the way already. You clear that out the way the week before.
I would like an enthusiastic reaction.
Yeah.
Make him, let him know what you would like from him, because this is a big deal, and you're gonna remember this for a while.
Yeah.
So
by a little preparation,
let him know. Let him be there for you.
let him know that if he sees you in the lingerie, that means you've got the signal is okay. And let him know how important this is to you. And
Yes.
Give him some time to sit with it. It's actually good for him to sit with it some time. So he's prepared. He's got his own thing. You want him to be prepared in his own mind. And then give him some time. And then when you're ready, he'll be ready. So that's our suggestion. Remember that lingerie is for you, so you feel comfortable and good with yourself. So then you're sending a signal to your partner that you are feeling that way. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that it just really occurred to me.
Uh-huh.
I never had anyone say, "Oh, that's really not attractive."
Oh, because we'll lie, even if it is. We're not going to tell you it's not attractive. Even if that doesn't work with your body shape or your colors, the color's not right for you. We're not going to say that. Are we stupid? We might say that when you buy it. Are you sure about that color? Are you sure that style? That's our nice way of saying, okay. So if you ever hear a man say, are you sure? That's our way of saying you're about to make a mistake, but it's, what do we know? That's so just let you know. Yeah. But of course we're not going to say anything there. How dumb would we? What kind of a dunce would you have to be to do that? I think nature's pretty much pre-programmed that one out of us. No, don't get in your own way, moron. We will lie. That's the one time we will just straight up lie.
You look fantastic.
You like it? Yeah, look great. You look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Girl. You look great. Okay. Last question of the night.
Question. Is it normal for masturbation to become boring?
If it's become a routine instead of entertainment.
Yeah.
If you're just doing it to do it, then yes, it'll become boring. If you're doing it because you've got the itch, actually want to, it won't become boring. But yeah. So,
Yeah, switch up your
it's just put it away for a little while. Couple days.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Put it away until you actually want to, not just because you're bored. That's my suggestion with that.
There we go.
And speaking of bored, that is the end of our journey tonight. Me and Lovey are out of here. You can find us at latenightlove.us and Spotify and Rumble. And I think we're going to go back to Minds and all those other various platforms. We'll tell you about that.
We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. I don't know if YouTube ever answers my appeal to the YouTube channel getting killed. That was an overreaction. All right, we're out of here. See you next week. For me and Lovey, Have a good night, and please remember to love everybody.
Good night.